So today we'll see how to use data types and variables and what are their importance in the programming language. Okay, I'll insert a module here. Let's say this is for showing you what are data types. See, data types are those which tell us in which category our data falls into. See, it is a necessary for us to categorize the data so that the memory of the computer is utilized in a better way. So until now, what all programs we have worked on, we have just used these cell addresses, or we have referred to a sheet or shape. So something like this. We have never, you know, used in a program uh, using some data types. So which says us what type of data it is and how to refer to it. So there are a lot of data types in VBA which is available to us, and they are classified into two broad types. So, so they are data types for values and data types for objects. Now, when I say data types for values, so you use numbers, and within that you have numbers falling in small range, the huge numbers, and numbers with decimals, fractions. So there are a lot of different types of numbers again. So to identify them, to classify them separately, and tell them it falls into this category, we require data types. And this is necessary because based on the size of your data or the value that you have taken, so it requires a different amount of memory in the RAM. For that purpose, you need these data types. Now let me show you some data types that are available to us in VBA. So these are data types for values. And again, within these data types for values, you have numeric and non-numeric as well. So there are some people who classify it as numeric and non-numeric data types also. Okay. So I was also telling you data type for values and data type for objects as well. And let me discuss one by one. So there are huge list of data types I can say. So let me show you. See, we have byte, integer, long, double, single, and you have boolean. So again, this doesn't come under numeric. Now let me just give you a list of all of them. So this is boolean, let's say, and we have also a date one. String is used for text, and we also have something known as variant over here. And you also have some data types like decimal. Okay, so there are huge list of data types like this. Now if I want some objects to be classified, let's say I am using a data type to identify an object here, so you have to declare it with the object name. Now suppose I am using a worksheet, then the data type will be worksheet itself. Or if I am using a workbook in my program, to refer to it, I will declare a variable and assign a data type of workbook type. So these are only few lists, so few data types that I can show you. So in detail, I'll be sharing a file which has got what are the types of, so the range of values these can store. So I'll just give you a glimpse of it. Just give me a second. See, you can see these are the range of values these data types can store in it. So byte, it is used to refer to values from 0 to 255. If you have a number, let's say, which is falling in the category of 0 to 255, you can declare that as byte. And if you have, suppose, a value between this range 32,768 or 767. So then you will go for integer. And again, you have a huge list like this, which allows you to decide which data type has to be used by you. Based on the type of data you are storing, you're going to choose the data type. So which is necessary for that to be stored. Okay. So now let me go back. Now, when does these data types are used? So along with a variable, we use this data types. Okay, I'll show you how to declare them. Only when I can, tell you what is a variable, I'll be able to show you how these data types can be used. See, variables are known as named memory location. Now, I was telling you what are the different types of data that are used in your program and how exactly you can classify them using the data types. Now, I have a value, let's say 150. I want to refer to that value with some label. So that 150 is the number of students, let's say. I would like to refer to it with that label rather than telling that it is present in a input box value, or let's say it is utilized in a cell. So rather than giving an address, so I can refer to that particular value by a label, and that is known as variable. So we require that so that the variables can be used in our program. Okay, and to also identify what type of value is being stored in that variable, we are going to use this data type. So how to use it? You need to first declare it. That is known as declaration of variables. Let me show you how to declare a variable. Now, to declare a variable, you are going to use a keyword here. So we'll say that as dim. Dim is a keyword which should be used in the beginning to declare any variable. Just like you use sub to start with a macro, you will use dim to declare a variable. So variables are again declared at the module level, at the project level, and at the macro level. So these are the scope of it. I'll come to it in the later part. So to declare, to start with, you give dim. Dim is dim, I can say it as dimension or declare in module. So these are the two meanings that you can take for dim. So dim means dimension or declare in module. After you provide dim, you will have to provide the variable name. So whatever name that you want to provide to your variable. So variable name has got some set of rules. So you need to follow those rules to provide a variable name here. It should begin with an alphabet. So no special characters other than underscore. It can have numbers, but text followed by number is fine. And no VBA keyword can be your variable name. So like dim, sub, end, if these things cannot be your variable name. So these are the rules that you have to look out for. And a variable name can have up to 255 characters. So that's the limit that it has got. So you can use up to 255 characters to provide a name to your variable. So again, you don't have to use all of it as well. So most of the time we'll keep it sweet and short, which will identify our data that we are using easily. After you provide the variable name, you are going to use as, and you will give the data type that you want to, whatever value is being stored in this variable. Based on that, you are going to decide the data type of that variable. So this is your declaration of variable. Now let me show you an example. So demonstration of variable declaration. So I'll say sub. We begin a macro. So within the macro, I'm trying to declare a variable. We'll just say var temp, something like this. That's the macro name. Now I have to begin with dim. I need to provide a variable name. Now I'll say I want to declare a variable to store a byte value. So I'll just say byt and num as byte, let's say. So this is the standard way you can provide a variable name. So you can give a prefix of the data type just to identify, okay, it is a byte type data type, and then you can provide the label. This is the most preferable way of declaring any variable, and it is a standard way of coding as well. Now I have declared it. I have said I am going to store a range of values within 0 to 255. So you saw that byte can store only values up to 0 to 255. So this variable can be assigned only with numbers between 0 to 255. Now how to assign it? So this is assignment of value to a variable. Now to assign a value to it, you're going to first provide the name of the variable. You'll use equals to symbol and then provide the input to it. See, any numeric data, you don't require double quotes. Okay, any numeric data without quotes, you have to give the number. So I'll just say 45. That's the number that I want to use here. So what you can do is, I want to see the output of this, whether it has stored the value properly. I'm going to use the variable name now. So when you directly provide a value like this within your macro, it is known as hard coded values. When you're directly providing it, that is the meaning of it. So if you have to change the value, you have to come and change your macro itself. That is within the macro only, you have to change the value. That is hard coded values. But there are other ways to take the input from the user, either through an input box, or let's say from a sheet, that is, you can store the value in a cell and you can assign that cell address as well. So currently I am showing you using a hard coded value, that is directly providing the number over here. Now let's say I want to print it. I'll give message box. So you know the message box function. I'll use byte num. I just gave the name of the variable over here, and you can observe I haven't used any quotes here. See, for any variable name, if you're using it within the macro, don't give these quotes. See, why we shouldn't be giving the quotes? See, if you provide it so, it will turn into a text, and whatever you have typed here, the same thing will be printed, not the value stored by it. So for that reason, you should not be giving it in double quotes. Now later, so after I provide this, now suppose I execute it, you can see it's going to display 45 over here. Now suppose I want to use another variable here, dim. Let's say I'll use string this time and say name as string. So for any text value that you're going to use, you can use string data type, any text value. And suppose let's say I'll go here str name and I'll use this iTech analytic solutions. So I'll just use the name of our institute. So I'll go here. I want to print the name. So I'll just say str name. I'll change the name of this variable. I'll run this so you can see this here. So there are other ways of providing the data type as well, though they are known as identifiers. So only few data types have got it. So I'll just show you the list over here. only those data types have got identifiers to be used. You can see here identifier type character for integer, long, decimal, single, double, and string. Only for these data types I have got identifiers over here. For rest of them you don't have it. Okay, so let me show you for the string one. We have, anyways, I have those example. I could be declaring this like this as well. Even then it's going to work for us. Now let me run it. This is another way of declaring variable. Instead of using as and then giving the data type, you could also be using an identifier if that data type has got it. Okay, not all data types have got an identifier. So these are the basic ways, say, in which you can utilize your the variables, and it is very advantageous, I'll tell you, because instead of using a cell address, or let's say uh, the direct value like this, you could be using the name, which makes more sense to us. Now let me show you another example. Let's say I have stored a value in an Excel sheet like this. Let me go here, just say salary. Okay, I'll zoom the sheet. See, I'll give the salary value as, let's say, 2 lakhs. I have got this. Now let me use some formatting as well. I've used 20 lakhs, fine. Now which data type you should be using? For that, you should check all the range of values a data type can take. Now let us go back to that list that we have. Okay, you will get to know this as and when you frequently use the data types. So initially you might find it difficult, but as and when you use it, you will get used to the data types that we are using in the programs. So now we have taken 20 lakhs as the value there. So based on that range of values, so which particular data type can store that range of values, you should based on that you should decide the data type to be used in your program. So now 20 lakhs, it somewhere falls in this long range. Now I should be using either long, so you can also see here how many bytes are being used. So if your value is falling within this range, and also see how many bytes are being used to store it. Based on that, you choose your data type. Now we can go by long. That's a safe way. Now let me go here. I'll just say dim, and I'll mention LNG for long and say salary as long here. Now suppose I'll go here. You look at the other way of assigning the value to the variable. I use LNG salary here. Now instead of giving the value directly, I can provide the cell address over here that we have in this sheet. Now it is sheet 1 range of, so this D3. D3 is where we have stored the value. Let me go back to this. I'll give the cell address. This is another way of assigning value to a variable. You could also assign it this way. So you give the address of the cell where we have stored it, just say value. We are using the value of D3 to give value to LNG salary. So it only means whatever value stored in this D3 cell of sheet 1 will be referred to as LNG salary. That's the label that I'm using here. Now suppose I'll just say I would like to see the salary. I am trying to give the text. See, this is the text. Along with the text, I want to print the value stored in this variable. Just say LNG salary. And now if I run this, You can see here, along with the text, the value that we have provided will be displayed over here. And just say OK. There is also another way of providing value to your variable, assigning value to it. Now let me show you that as well. Now suppose we have this dim, and the best practice to declare your variables is to provide them in different lines. So you could also use the same line, it's fine, but best practice is to provide them in different line so that you will know which data type you have assigned to it. See, I'll be showing you another alternative method also to save some space, so people use this way as well. Now let me show you what can we use here. Maybe integer. Okay, so I'll say int num as integer. Okay, so now int num, so instead of num, just say incentive, something like this. Yeah, so let's go here. I'll say int incentive, and see, to provide an input to this, I am using input box. This is another way of assigning value to your variable. So at the runtime, you can decide what value you want to provide to that particular variable. So you know this whatever value we are assigning from a sheet, you have to provide it even before you execute your macro, so that it will take the value from that address. Now if you're using input box, at the time of executing your macro, you can decide what value has to be provided there. So each one of them have their own advantage. Enter incentive value, let's say I'll give that. Now let's run this again. I have not used to print it. Anyways, I'll just give a value to this. I'll say 4,500. So we have not used the incentive value. Let me use that as well. Just a message box. Incentive. And you can say int incentive over here. So that will be printed. Let's run this. It will ask you to enter the incentive value. Now let's say I'll give 9876. So it will display the salary, then incentive as well. So these are the different ways in which you could be assigning values to your variables. And these data types, as I said, they are very, very important so that your memory consumption is utilized, or the consumption is decided in a better way rather than wasting it. Okay, so you should decide based on the value that you're storing in the variable. Based on that, you will decide what data type has to be used. Okay, so just give me a minute. I'll pause. Now let's see what are the different scope of variables that we have. Now when I say scope, that is the lifetime of a variable. So till where I can use the variable value, for how long I can be using it. Now you saw how to declare variables within a macro. All these variables can store the value, can hold that value only until this particular macro is executed. Once the macro execution is completed, whatever value stored in these variables will be revoked. So they will be released. The memory is released immediately after the macro is executed. So there are these are known as macro level variables. So the scope of this is within this macro only. I can use these macros only within this. I'm sorry, I can use these variables only within these macros. So the macro that I've written, only till there it is valid for me. If I try to use it somewhere in another macro, it throws me an error that I have not declared it. Okay, so this is macro level variables. So what is module level? There is something known as module level variable. So what you see here, option explicit. So below that, we are going to declare them. So the variables which are declared outside. So this place exactly is known as global declaration space. Now let me give here. I'll use dim. You could also be using a keyword private over here. Instead of dim, you could also be using private. I'll use dim. I'll say int private as integer. Okay. So this is another value. And we have public as well. Public, I'll just say int public as integer again. Now, these two are, and let me tell you what this does. See, this variable can be used within any macro in the current module. So within the current module, you could be using it. And this one can be used throughout the project. That is current project. Now, when I say current project, so within this workbook, how many ever modules you might be having, or even this, different types of modules you might be having. So you could use this particular variable in all those places. So in all those modules, you could be using. In your current project, you can use this variable. Okay, now let me show you how to use it. Now, I'll go here. I'll just include another macro. Say sub private variable. So for this, I'm just providing, or let me declare values, assign values to both those public and private and show you what is their scope. So that would be a better way. Private and public, I'll just name it like this. And for those two variables, I'm assigning value here. Int private, I'll just say this is 1000. And int public, this is 2000. I'll just name them. Now you can see here, you have to first execute them. You need to provide some value initially. Okay, once they are stored, the same value, you can use it in any macro using this int private, and in public, you could be using it throughout the project. So even if it is not within this module, it can be used in another module as well. Let me show you that. I'll use this int private within this message box int private. See, please note, you should assign value to those variables and you should have executed this. I should have executed this in order to see that the value is stored in it. Now I'm going to use it here. See, scope as private, let's say. I'll give this text. Or I'll say scope at module level. And I'll use the value present in this int private. Now let me run this macro. I'll enter some incentive value. This is displayed, incentive is displayed. Now you can see the private variable, whatever value we gave to that particular variable, even that is available here. Int private, whatever value we gave to it, so it is available. We did not declare this here within this macro. So we declared it outside in the global declaration space and we just assigned values to them in a separate macro. I could be using this variable in any macro written within the current module. The current module is the data types. I have named it as data types. Now within this module, how many ever macros I'm going to write, in all of them or either of them, you could be using this particular uh, variable value. Now let's see int public. I'll also declare that over here. So let's just use it here. Scope at project level. I'll just say int public over here. Now let me run it again. You see, scope at module level 1000 is displayed, project level 2000 is displayed. Now let me use this in a separate module. I'll insert another module. I'll use this project, so this project level variable over here, sub display project level variable, and say message box and public. Now if I run it, you can see it will be displayed over here as well. I don't need to declare it again and again. I have to declare it once, assign value to it only once, and I could be using it in anywhere within the project. So that is a public type variable. Okay, so these are the scope of variables. First, within the macro, so that is macro level variable. Second, module level variable. And third is this project level variable. These are the different scopes that are available to us. So that is the lifetime of that particular variable. So if you have any doubts here, you could ask me, Rajesh. So, okay, so if you're clear, then we'll move forward. So this one, so there is something known as static variable and constant. So there are these two types which work in a special way. I'll tell you how they can be used. So sub static variable. See, these variables can store the value until the file is closed. And see, let me show you the difference. So I'll say int count as integer. And the other variable I was speaking about, static variable, you need to use static as the keyword to declare it. And again, I'll give that here as int stat count. I'll use this as integer again. Now let's see how these two will behave. I'll say int count is equal to, int count is your normal variable, it's not static one. I'll just say int count plus 1. Now when I give this kind of statement, it means, so whatever is the initial value plus 1 has to be given. Currently we don't have any value stored in int count, it is 0. I have just declared the variable, I have assigned value int count plus 1. Int count has no value currently, it is 0. So when I execute the macro, it will change to 1. And the same thing I'll do with int stat count as well. Plus 1. You look at the difference when I run the macro here, and I would like to see the values of these two variables. Message box, I'll say normal variable, and I'll print that int count along with this. So I'll give a space here. I'll take another message box, I'll say static variable, and I'll say int stat count. Now when I execute this for the first time, both will give me 1 as the answer. You can see here static variable is also 1 and your normal variable was also 1. That's the end of it. Again, I'll run the macro. See, I was telling you, within the macro, if you declare variable, its scope is only until the program is executed. Once it's executed, all the values stored in it will be revoked. So now let me run it again. See, normal variable is again showing 1. But you look at the static variable, it changed to 2. So it means the static variable will be storing values until you close this file. How many ever times you run this macro, it will keep count of it. How many times you have run the macro, it will give you that count. But that's not the same with your normal variable. So the value stored in it will vanish once the program is executed. So whatever value was stored in it, it will it will be cleaned. So it will be revoked by your program. But that's not the same with static variable. Value stored in static variable will be available to us as long as the file is being used. Once I close the file, again it will refresh. It will reset the value to 1. So that so it will be empty once I close the file, not before that. So that those are static variables. So there is something known as constant variable as well. Now you might have seen we calculate the area, you have pi constant. So there are so many other constants as well. To identify this, to use these constant variables, we use const as the keyword before declaring them. Just like you saw the static as the keyword used, so we'll use const as the keyword to declare any constant values. Constant values will never change. So you could also be, declaring them over here at the global declaration space. See, right at the beginning over here. So even here you could declare a constant variable so that that constant variable can be used in different macros that are available to us. So the constant variable, as I said, it could be some uh, constants like pi, or you have some constant set in your organization, some threshold for some quality reasons, let's say. So the errors should not exceed 10. You can set such constant values. Now let me show you that within the macro, I am going to declare a constant variable. Sub, say constant variable. So here you'll have to mention const and say I am giving a decimal value, so I'll say double pi as double again. And you need to provide the value right here. So I'll say 3.142. That's a pi constant. See, only for these constant variables, you see that the value is assigned to it immediately after the declaration. So you have to provide the value immediately after the declaration. So it is not there for any other variables. We haven't used it that way. We have declared it separately and we have assigned the value separately. So for constant variables, I have to provide the value immediately after that. Now let's say I'm using another variable, dim r as, so let's say byte, r as byte. And I want to store area, say dim. So here again, I need decimal value. I'll use double area as double again. So you have to decide based on what value will be stored in that particular variable. So that's how I have taken byte. So because I know the radius value, I'm not going to give more than 255. It will be within the range of 0 to 255. So I used byte over here. So in case of area I have chosen double because when you multiply it with this value, it's a decimal. So to store decimal values, I have to choose something of double type only. So let's say dbl area is equal to, see I haven't used r here. First you need to provide r value, only then we can calculate the area. Let's say byte r is equal to, I'll decide it at the time of running the macro. I'll just say area of enter the radius value. I'll give this and then I'll calculate area. dbl area is equal to byte r into byte r again, or you could also mention like this, power of 2 pi r square, right? You could also use the caret symbol to say power of 2, and here I'm using the constant dbl pi into this. So I want to see the result as well. So I'll say message box area of the circle and say dbl area here. If I run this, it will first ask me to enter the check it. Okay, the spelling is wrong. Radius value, I'll give 5. See, 5 square is 25. So into 3.142, it is going to give me this value. So you could be using the constant values. So like this, using a const keyword, you could be providing this. So these are the two special type of variables that we have, static and constant. Now along with this, I would like to show you something, the importance of using this option explicit. See, there are a lot of advantages here. See, without this option explicit, now let me show you what exactly happens when you don't have this. So that's the reason I've commented it. I'll go here. So you saw something. It threw as, so let's say I'll change the variable name over here. By mistake, I misspelled it, let's say. If I run it, I'll give any radius value here. You look at it, the area of the circle is still 0. Reason, see, this will be considered as a different variable, and the one that I've used is will be considered as another variable. Now I should be able to identify it, or it should at least throw me an error. This doesn't happen because I have not provided option explicit. See, so option explicit will allow me or will force me to declare a variable before using it in the macro. And it will also help me identify the misspelled variable names, because it will throw me an error saying this particular variable is not defined. So let me show you. I'll remove this now. I'll run the macro again with that mistake that we have kept intact. So I'll just run it. See, it will immediately highlight me that there is something wrong here, or you have not declared it. So now I know there is a spelling mistake. I can just correct it. And now if I run this with some value, it is going to give me the result in a proper way. See, it was a small macro, you could identify it easily. So if it was a huge macro or some project that you're working on, and if you have misspelled some variable names like this, it would be really difficult, because your macro will not throw any error, but it is not going to give you the results also in a proper way because you have misspelled the variable names. So to identify these things and to see eventually what happens when you are forced to declare a variable, you will use a proper data type as well, and that in turn saves your memory space, so the memory management will be efficient. So these are the advantages of using the option explicit. But again, you don't have to type it always. So there is something that you can enable it. Just go here, go to tools, you have options, you need to enable this option. Require variable declaration, just keep it enabled and say okay. See, currently I had it in this module. So if it is not visible in the current module, you could type it. Okay. But once you have enabled that in the options, uh, as soon as you insert a new module, any kind of module, you will see that option explicit appearing automatically. Okay. So these are the advantages and a must, I can say, because it is going to save you a lot of time in searching for these misspelled variables. And and what happens is when you don't declare any variable and use it straight away, all those will be a variant type. So variant is one of the largest memory occupying variables, I can say. If you're not sure of what kind of data you are providing, you can keep it as a variant. But most of the time, you know what kind of value you are going to provide. So it is always better to use a data type so that your memory is managed in a proper way. Okay. So I hope you have got this, Rajesh. So I'll stop the session at this point. Okay.